welcome back to the next lesson. So in this lesson, I'll quickly run you through the light box. Remember when I said that some of this stuff here can be found in different places? They are just repeated, so that's why you may just see, okay, there are too many buttons, can get you scared. First thing that should eliminate the fear: a lot of these buttons are repeated, you get, so they are not like different, so it's the same thing. So first of all, open is the same as wanting to open a document here. So you can now click here and open an existing document in any file, especially in ZBrush, you know, and all. All right, so this is tools. So ZBrush usually come with a few tools we might use, yeah, but we wouldn't necessarily use them since we're building some things from scratch. So it comes with some you would say templates. Like there's a doc. If I double click on this doc, right, it's active here. I have to draw it on my workspace, so I'll click on Lightbox to deactivate it and click and drag to draw it here just once. Now don't press any other thing, because if you do, it will duplicate itself. So what you want to do immediately, you draw this brush, this dog, on your canvas. This is your canvas. So come here and click on edit object. So it's now active and you can now edit, you can now draw anything you want to do on it. All right, so if you want to if you haven't used ZBrush before and you want to kickstart your journey on sculpting a character or whatever it is, so you better understand all these things. I won't be showing you all that in this particular course. This course is mainly to show you how to sculpt the character from a base mesh. So in my previous courses, I showed you how to sculpt the character from scratch. All right, using, hold on. So I'll show you how that works. Using the sphere. All right, so I in that course I showed you how to sculpt a character using a sphere like this. Remember what I said when I said do not click anywhere else? You see that it duplicates itself, all right, which I did it intentionally, so you would see, so that when you draw a particular object, you have to activate the edit button before you start sculpting. So to get rid of this, I'll just do Ctrl N. It clears everything out. So when I draw it again, hold down Shift to snap it. I click my edit button, so now it's now active. I can now view it. So since it's a sphere, you may not really know whether it's rotating or not, so you use this guy, this icon, to know that you're in the side view. You use this one to know you're in the front view, side view, perspective, side, back view, you know, bottom view. So you get, so in that course I showed how to actually sculpt a character from scratch using the sphere, and in that course I went in deep on using these tools. So for this course I'll be showing you the tools as it applies to the particular character I'll be sculpting. So I won't be going over that, so you can check out my previous course. So the first thing we want to do, we are going to go into sculpting immediately, and the first thing we want to do now is to prepare our base mesh, right? And some of you may not know how to do this, especially if I'll be using Blender and ZBrush at the same time. So I may be running you through both softwares, you get, like I said, as it applies to the course. Okay, I don't know if I'm making sense, but let's do it. It's more understood when it's practiced. So this is back to your canvas. So in this, included in the package, there's the base mesh you will download. So when you download it, we want to prepare and fix a few things. So like I was going over this light box. You get, so there is a tool, there is, let me quickly finish them up. There are the brushes. So there are different sets of brushes. So So if I click and drag, you'll see different segments of brushes that a lot of them I have not used and may not use. In my sculpting, I only use 4 brushes, and that's all. You get, which it will take me, I will have to sit down and actually practice with these brushes and understand what they do, which you can do also. Well, actually understand what they do, so you'll be able to maximize each and every one of them. So there is the textures. So for adding textures to your sculpts or your characters, you get, so there's the textures, and you may use some of these textures for different characters, which I haven't really touched them yet, though. A lot of them I haven't really used them yet. So some of these you may not find it in yours because I already have some textures installed on my system. All right, so there is alpha, the same thing here. So alpha is basically long story short, you can use alphas. I don't want to give you theory. You can use alphas to add wrinkles to your characters, maybe some depths, maybe pimple, pores. These are what alphas are meant for. Basically, you add bumps to your character, and this also can be rendered and used as a realistic characters and all. So this is basically for it. I don't want to bore you with too much jargons. So this is basically to sculpt maybe wrinkles, or it's more like an overlay to overlay wrinkles on your character, or pimple. Some depending on the character you're sculpting, maybe your character has stretch marks, you want to add it, so you can use these. So they are also found here too. Is the alpha. So if you click on this guy, you have a lot of them here, right? And it's CC. Clear color. Wow, that's nice. I didn't know this was here. This is new. Like I said, I'm using this to 2020 for the first time, so I was still exploring it. All right, so then there's material, different material texture which you can find here. There's material here, a lot of them here. So there's noise. I haven't really used this before. I may not have a need for it for now. And this is the fibers. So now fibers are actually sometimes used to maybe add beard to the character, hair system. So I don't really like the ZBrush hair system though, so I rarely use it. So usually when I finish sculpting, I just take it to the blender and add my hair particle system, which I may not cover. I just want to stick to the basics. So that's pretty advanced. So this is array. I haven't really used this. The grade. So you can just play with all these and see what they do. Wow, render search. That's really nice. 2021, getting better. Oh, this is cute. Don't mind me. I'm just exploring this guy. And there's the filters. All these are new. I still haven't used them yet, so I can't really say I know. So usually when you're sculpting, ZBrush will sometimes do an auto save for you, a quick save of some of the processes that where you are. So but you would want to always save your work. Control S to save. And there's the spotlight, and usually I use this to add maybe a reference image, which you see how I'll be doing that in this course. So like I said, some of these things are better off explained. All right, so if you click on lightbox button, it gets rid of that drop down menu. So the next thing we want to do now is, okay, so here also, like I said, you will better understand it when I use it. So the subtool is more like your layers. So if you're coming from Photoshop or maybe Illustrator, you do have layers. ZBrush also have layers. Also, they are called subtools. So that if you add an eye, if you add ears, if you add clothes, so they all have different layers and for it. So it's called subtools. So you can also create a folder. That's new. I mean, you can create a folder for yourself. So really, that's really cute. So wow, so I can really have my clothes and all have it in a folder and all. So that's really amazing. So So we'll get to use it as we go. So you can rename your subtool. You can give your subtool maybe a high subdivision, or maybe a low subdivision. So all these jargons I'm speaking, that if you are an absolute beginner and do not understand it, what I'm saying, so you better understand it when I'm using it. So I don't like boring people with jargon, so I'll just use it and you understand, okay, this is what this does, this is what that does. So this is to split, this is to merge, boolean. So all this will be better understood when we use them. So this other subtool, so like I said, ZBrush has a lot of buttons. You'll be pressing a lot of buttons, so you can get confused. So like I said, it's based according to what we'll be using them for. A lot of these buttons we won't be using them, right? We won't be using them, just a few of them we'll be using. So I'm going to see you in the next lesson. In the next lesson, we'll be going to Blender to prepare our sculpt, or to prepare our character for sculpting, our base mesh for sculpting, or our basic, you could call it a basic character that you can use in creating other characters from. So you can use that particular character. What it does is you can use that particular base mesh to create like 1,000 other characters with different faces, with different variation, all in ZBrush. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. So it saves you time of having to apply a sphere as sculpting from scratch, which is important. You learn that part of sculpting from scratch, because there are some projects that you may not need to use a base mesh. You just have to sculpt from scratch. That's why you have to check out my course on ZBrush for beginners, so you'd only better understand how to sculpt and use maybe Dynamesh. And because in this training we won't be using Dynamesh, that's if you understand what Dynamesh is, but I'll explain that to you in the next lesson. No, in the next 2 lessons. So in the next lesson we'll be going over preparing our character for sculpting. So see you in Blender. I believe you have Blender already installed. So if you do not have Blender installed, you can just quickly go to blender.org. Just go to your web browser, type in blender.org. It's free. Blender is free. I think I have it here, and it opens for you. Oh, my internet is not on. Okay. And so just type in blender.org and download Blender, right? It's free. So I believe you have the Blender installed. So see you in the next lesson as we prepare our character for sculpting. So see you in the next lesson, and please, I hope you're enjoying this, and don't be in a hurry. I know if I'm too fast, you can slow down, you can repeat it, right? But I'm trying as much as possible to not bore you and go straight to the point. This is for beginners. I just want to go straight to the point and just show you, okay, this is how you lift this from point A to point B. So there's no need explaining point A and go and explain point B before I say go and move it to point A to. Just move it from point A to point B before I explain why you should move it from point A to point B. It's much easier and faster that way, right? So I want you to pay close attention to each and everything I'll be saying throughout this course.